It's good to see all of you here. I hope you are all doing well. Just to give you, just for your planning purposes, tomorrow's Unified Media Briefing will be at noon. And at this point, we also plan on having one on Saturday at noon. And then Sunday, unless events dictate, I don't plan on having any media update, at least from the city of Tuscaloosa. Let me go ahead and share with you, as I have been on most occasions, something I see during the day that really touches my heart. And of course, there are thousands of stories like this across Tuscaloosa County where citizens have given so much to those that are in need. Yesterday, I was at the Rosedale Aid Station, and I had an opportunity to go out and thank volunteers for what they're doing for this community. And I ran into an engineer named Rob. Rob had graduated from the University of Alabama, but he was working in Washington, D.C. And he saw the tragedy unfold on television like millions of Americans did, and felt the calling to come back home or come back to where he went to school to do something for his community. He immediately told his bosses that he was going to use his vacation to come and volunteer right here in Tuscaloosa. He got on the ground, drove all the way to here, got on the ground, found a volunteer aid station, and now he's running the main part of the logistical needs out at Rosedale. Rob's story is like so many others that we continue to see across this community. And I hope there's some way, somehow, that all these acts of kindness and generosity and compassion can be documented, and that we continue to, all of us continue to work with that same sort of relentless spirit that has guided us in the past 7 days. Let me share with you some of our statistics and briefly talk about an executive order that I've signed. Right now, our missing persons, or our people of concern, are down to 25. We have 5 that are in the level 1 category, which means the individual that made the report had contact with them within the past 2 weeks. I want to thank the work of the Sheriff's Department, the Tuscaloosa Police Department, and the Northport Police Department, and all the agencies and employees who have been working tirelessly on this list. Since last Wednesday night, we have cleared 1,084 names, which is a tremendous testimony to the hard work of all these individuals. Last night, I reported to many of you that our fatality number had gone to 41, and that's a county-wide number. In the city of Tuscaloosa, right now, we have 100 residents without power. Remember, last Thursday at our first briefing, we had over 45,000. So, tremendous job by Alabama Power. Today out in the field, and of course Sheriff Sexton and Chief Martin can provide you more of the tactical details, we have 12 search teams with 28 cadaver dogs in the field. Environmental Services is actually working on a plan to begin debris pickup in areas that are not in the recovery zone, and we hope to have more information to you by the end of the week. Last night, Tuscaloosa Police Department had 1 report of looting. No arrest, is my understanding, Chief. And we made 2 arrests for violation of curfews. Our volunteer services continue to work extremely well. To give you some idea of the amount of aid that's going out into the field, yesterday our volunteer aid stations within the city of Tuscaloosa provided 752 MREs, provided 804 cases of water, and there's 24 bottles of water in each case, provided 2,287 bags of ice, and provided 1,046 cases of tarps, and there are 7 tarps in each case. We could not do that without the National Guard. The National Guard has been absolutely essential to us, not only in establishing law and order, but ensuring that we're able to get the needed supplies out to our citizens in need. The city will continue with 4 main aid stations at 5 Points, Leland, Locklear, and Bruno's. We have discontinued the Skyland location and consolidated those operations into the other aid stations. Also, as a reminder, beginning this Saturday, our volunteer operations are going to be merged with the county operations, and we will have a county-wide volunteer registration center at the Maccabee Center, which is adjacent to the VA. It's important to note that any volunteer that goes into the recovery zone has to be credentialed. It's for the safety of the volunteer, as debris removal, including hazardous waste removal, will start in these areas. We also will have utility companies doing major work in these areas, and we want to coordinate the volunteers strategically where we can have them in the most effective position. It also ensures the health, safety, and welfare for those who are in those recovery zones, making sure that anyone that's in those locations should be there. Tomorrow night at the Bryant Conference Center at 5:30, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting a meeting of small businesses. FEMA and Small Business Administration representatives will be on hand for a Q&A. It's my understanding that in the city there were over 500 businesses that were impacted by last Wednesday's tornado. I'm sure they have a lot of questions, and FEMA and the SBA will be there to help facilitate those discussions. At this time, I want to briefly talk about an executive order that I signed yesterday. And the council this afternoon will go into its meeting at 1 o'clock and will begin discussing many of the components of this executive order. I have appointed John McConnell to head the Rebuild Tuscaloosa Task Force. John is the department head for planning and developmental services for the city of Tuscaloosa. I've authorized John to appoint members he feels necessary to assist him, whether they're internal staff members or members of our community, in developing a plan. I've asked this committee to look at all aspects of planning and rebuilding inside the city of Tuscaloosa and see how we as a government can streamline our licensing, permitting, and inspection process where possible, including the establishment of satellite centers throughout the recovery areas for everyone who's involved in the rebuilding of Tuscaloosa. We also want to look at this in a long term, in a comprehensive fashion. It's important that when we rebuild this city, we do so in such a way that honors the 41 people who died on April 27th. As we keep talking about time and time again, we cannot let their deaths be in vain. And one of the ways we can honor them is to rebuild this city stronger than it was the day of April 27th. Therefore, John's committee is going to look at many different facets, from infrastructure to planning to construction elements, everything to make this one of the best livable communities in America. We're also going to be assisted by the Citizen Advisory Committee that will be appointed by the Tuscaloosa City Council. The Citizens Advisory Committee will be responsible for approving the plan before sending it to the Planning Commission. The citizens of this committee will be made up of people who live in the recovery zones themselves, so that there is direct citizens' input into the plan that we draft. It is my hope that a plan will be submitted to me by July 1st, 2011, and then by August 1st, 2011, that we can submit something to the City Council. This will be a long process. There are no easy answers as we rebuild the city. It may require us at times to put in moratoriums to deal with issues. We've already seen cases of outside contractors who want to come in and basically build what I call mobile homes on slabs. We are not going to allow that. The construction that's going to take place is going to be something that honors all those that have been impacted by this tornado. As we continue to work through these issues, we will have more information to you, and I appreciate you again being here today. Judge McCollum is going to follow me, and then Sheriff Sexton, and then all of us, including John McConnell, will be here to answer any questions. Judge?
Thank you, Mayor. I think the Mayor has covered most everything. One of the, going forward, most of the damaged area in Tuscaloosa County falls within the police jurisdiction of the city of Tuscaloosa and the planning jurisdiction. So we'll be working cooperatively with the city and its planners in ensuring that whatever and however we redevelop some of the impacted areas, that we will do it in concert with the city of Tuscaloosa. The mayor indicated the number of folks that have had their power restored that are without power in the city of Tuscaloosa. There are just slightly less than 600 remaining countywide. It's obvious, with only 100 remaining in the city, the majority of those that remain without power are in the rural areas of Tuscaloosa County, the impacted area primarily to the north and east of the city. There are about 400 to 500 homes that remain without electricity. Obviously, and I want to emphasize this, as those that have gotten power restored, I want to make certain that we continue to emphasize calling the FEMA hotline, the 1-800-621-FEMA, to report damage. I want to make certain of that, because without those reports, then the FEMA services may not be made available to those on a private basis. We have initiated at the county the beginning of the cleanup and with the Corps of Engineers, and that has begun. We emphasize to everyone to get as much of the debris removed to the streets and to the roadside so it can be removed efficiently. Again, you need to register with FEMA in order for us to do the private property removal because of the required inspection.
We're going to be working on that list. The efforts of search and rescue are still going on, and we hope that we will be able to clear the list to zero. That way we can give